Our fellow Blue Lockians are inching closer and closer to the long-awaited U20 World Cup. In recent chapters, we get a reveal of what seems to be the countries with a new Gen 11 player. We also get a tally of the amount of countries participating in the U20 World Cup, which is the highest it has ever been at a whopping 64 participants. This brings about the question, who will be Japan's biggest threat in the upcoming U20 World Cup? In this video, I will be theorizing the top 5 countries that I believe will be Japan's biggest rivals in the upcoming U20 World Cup. Just a disclaimer, this video is going to be all theory and just a prediction of what I think will happen. With this being said, Brazil has the number 5 spot. Brazil is a soccer powerhouse nation known for having a rich history of winning both the U20 World Cup and the regular World Cup titles. If England is the homeland of soccer, then Brazil is the colonizer of the sport, as the country has been so greatly influenced by football and has influenced it to even greater heights. Brazil has created so many talents like Pele, who is considered by many to be the best player to ever live, as well as R9 and Ronaldinho, just to name a few. And in Blue Lock's verse, we've seen 2 world-class Brazilian players in Dado Silva from the World 5 match and Levinho from the NEL. Now the main reason I believe Brazil will be one of the biggest threats in this tournament is first due to their historical performance in the past U20 World Cups. If we go from 2019, which is when the Blue Lock U20 World Cup will take place, Brazil has had the most consistent finishes more than any country in the entire world. They've won the U20 World Cup title 5 times, only second to Argentina with 6, finished as a runner-up 4 times and came 3rd 3 times in the 21 World Cups that have taken place since 1977 to 2017. This means that they have finished in the top 3 12 out of 21 times in the past U20 World Cup, which is absolutely insane. Now I know some people may be thinking that these stats may not apply to Blue Lock's verse because they're obviously a different reality. However, if we look at chapter 304, which is Patron of Dreams, we see Isagi holding a DVD titled Euro 2008 Final. When he plays the video, we see a panel of who I believe to be Fernando Torres scoring a goal, making the score 1-0, which in reality Spain did win that final 1-0. Another thing which surprised me is that Brazil is the only country from South America with a new Gen 11 player, which is crazy to think about when there are teams like Argentina who's more than likely going to be in this tournament. From what I've seen from the manga so far, there is a huge emphasis on the new Gen 11 players. For example, if we look at the point tally at the end of the Neo Egoist League, the bottom 2 teams being Manchester City and Barca both lacked a new Gen 11 player, which significantly affected them as a team. I mean, obviously they had a lot of less relevant players, but the point still stands. With this in mind, I think that since Brazil is the only South American giant with a new Gen 11 player, I could see them being a big threat to Japan and causing a lot of trouble to them if they do go up against each other. In 4th, we have England. Having probably the richest history of the sport, England is the homeland of football. If Blue Lock follows past events in the soccer world, then in the manga, England are the defending champions of the U20 World Cup from 2017, and they will definitely be looking to achieve victory in the upcoming U20 World Cup. Out of the 5 country leagues represented in the NEL, through their domestic clubs, only 2 have not shown a new Gen 11 player or a master that classifies as a U20 player. These 2 countries are England and Spain, which I will talk about later on in the video. I believe that the absence of a new Gen 11 player was for a reason, as the introduction will be set for the U20 World Cup. We don't really know much about England in the Blue Lock's verse besides the fact that they have very strong and physical forwards like Chris Prince and Adam Blake, who are both prolific strikers. However, I don't think England's new Gen 11 player will be a striker. Based on real life, England in recent years has produced many world-class midfielders like Bellingham, Palmer and Declan Rice. With that, I think that England's new gen player will be a midfielder. Also, England already has Agi, who will probably start as a forward for England's U20 team, so having a new gen player as a forward for England would not make sense in my opinion. I also honestly think Agi was not really showing his true skill in the NEL since he was so focused on training Nagy and other players, so maybe we'll finally see how he plays when he's actually trying. So far, we know that England is known for their speed and rushing ability. Physicality is the most important, as goals are stolen by brute force. With that being said, I think the new Gen 11 player from England will be a strong, physical and fast midfielder, who I think will be a new type of challenge to Japan's U20 team if they face each other. I see him as the type of player having both strong defensive capabilities and the ability to transition from defense to attack, carrying the ball up or creating crucial chances in counterattacks. Moving up to 3rd, we have the country where Isagi's finest clown resides, Germany. Germany will definitely be one of the favorites to win the entire U20 World Cup. So far, playing for Germany, we have Ness, Grimm, and one of Isagi's many rivals, Kaiser. One thing I've noticed about the show is that every rivalry that has revolved around Isagi has created great evolutions in both Isagi and his adversary. In these rivalries, we always see these players being broken down directly or indirectly by Isagi, then growing exponentially. We've seen this in players like Bara and Rin, and I think this is going to happen with Kaiser as well in the U20 World Cup. Although we've we've seen Kaiser improve a lot over the NEL, whatever rivalry he and Isagi has is definitely not settled to him, especially since Isagi basically nicknamed him his finest clown after beating him to the final goal in the Bastard vs PXG match. I think Kaiser will evolve to an even greater extent and prove to be a threat not only to Japan, but any team in the U20 tournament. We also seem to have a new dynamic between Ness and Kaiser, with Ness finally being less of a glazer and deciding to not do what he is told anymore. With that being said, I think Germany's team is going to be centered around these two players. Before we go on to our runner-up, I want to thank you all for the support recently. I never expected this channel to grow quickly as it is, so thank you all for the amazing support. We finally hit 400 subscribers and we're on our way to 500, so feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Now let's get back to our ranking list. In our runner-up spot is Spain. The main reason for thinking this is because of this panel. Yes, the plane ticket that Isagi got in the most recent chapter. I think this plane ticket is a ticket to Spain, and here's why I think so. First off, the first DVD we see Isagi pick up from the box he got from Ego is the 2008 Euro final, which showed a clip of Spain beating Germany 1-0. Now this might just be me absolutely reaching, but I think this is a foreshadowing of an Isagi Spain training arc. This entire theory is centered around one central team, considered the strongest club in the entire world in Blue Lock's verse and in real life. I am talking about Real. This team is literally the Thanos of Blue Lock, collecting all the Infinity Stones, having Luna on their main squad, Itoshi Sai as a youth player, and bidding for Rin and Kaiser as well. What I think will happen is Isagi goes to Spain to train with Itoshi Sai and Real's youth team. Blue Lock's author has already confirmed that Isagi and Sei will work together in the future. I think that collaboration will happen before the U20 World Cup in Spain. The reason I think this is because in chapter 3 or 4, Isagi points out how each clip begins with a player that creates the smell of a goal. It then goes on to show the players featured in the clips in a subsequent panel. Some people may have realized already, but the players shown on the panel are actually real life players, and they include Pablo Aimar, Beckham, R9, Kaká, Fernando Torres, and Alvaro Recoba. In this list, we have 2 strikers in R9 and Fernando Torres, and 4 attacking midfielders in Aimar, Beckham, Kaká, and Recoba. Now if we take a look at Itoshi Sai, he's an attacking midfielder from what we've seen so far, with previous experience as a striker. I think this panel was used not just to be there, but as a foreshadowing of who Isagi must learn from or use as a stepping stone next to become the best in the world. Maybe Itoshi Sai asked Ego to call up Isagi to train with him in Spain, as he has already acknowledged Isagi as the one who will change Japanese soccer. However, this guy is the nonchalant dreadhead of Blue Lock, so I don't know if he would go as far as doing that. If this were to happen, we can get a glimpse into not only more of Sei's character, personality, and skills, but into Real's youth team and potential players Isagi may go against in the World Cup. With the way Real are buying all the wonder kids in and outside the verse, I'm almost certain that Spain's new Gen 11 player probably plays for Real, and we may get to see who he is and maybe how he plays before the U20 tournament begins. I think this guy's gonna be an absolute ball and a new type of challenge to Isagi in Japan. I initially thought that maybe the new gen from Spain would be a striker, but with Real bidding for both Rin and Kaiser, who are both strikers, I don't think that player will play in that position. Instead, I think they may either be a winger or a midfielder who is technically gifted. Finally, we have in my opinion the team that realistically I think will win the entire thing. That team is France. This team is literally an Avengers level threat to Japan. They have Loki, a 17-year-old who is even noticed by Noel Noah as his biggest threat. We've only seen this guy play for like a couple chapters in the manga, and he wasn't even going all out. So we have something big coming for us if Japan faces France, which they most likely will. Then we have Charles, a prodigy who hasn't fully figured out the depths of his ego and full potential. To make things even crazier, we apparently have a new Gen 11 player as well, which we know nothing about. Looking at every opposing team, France is by far the biggest threat and the most stacked team we know so far. We're finally going to get Isagi versus Loki, a match that has built a lot of tension ever since Isagi made Loki crash out by basically calling him a fraudulent speed merchant. After that mic drop, I don't think we have to worry about Loki holding back at all in this U20 World Cup. Since we have Loki as a striker or maybe winger for France and Charles as a midfielder, I think the France new gen player will be a defender or maybe even a goalkeeper, which would make France a very well-rounded team defensively, offensively, and in the midfield. We have so much to unpack in the upcoming chapters of the Blue Lock manga. We're finally going to see the new and evolved Blue Lock players playing together ever since the U20 versus Blue Lock match. We still have 8 more new Gen 11 players that we know absolutely nothing about, and we're inching closer to seeing them play in the upcoming arcs. The only thing we could do now is wait, get our popcorn ready, and see what happens, because a lot is about to unfold. With that being said, this comes to the end of the video. Let me know what you all think of these theories, and be sure to comment any other theories that you have down below. If you also enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. With that, I'll see you all in the next one.